The biggest difference between winning and losing on X is posting the right type of content. If you want to attract more clients, you need to focus on what type of content you're posting. My agency has written over 100,000 tweets across hundreds of clients' accounts and generated over $10 million in sales for our clients. And what I've learned is that there are 6 specific formats that don't just get engagement, they actually convert viewers to leads who are ready to buy. I'm going to break down 6 formats we use at our agency to turn followers into paying clients. Then I'm going to show you how you can write them by yourself for your own account. You'll know exactly which formats to use, when to use them, and how to adapt them to your niche so you can start booking calls this week. Before we get into anything else, we need to understand the psychology of content that converts to clients. It starts by understanding this one core principle that most people completely miss. Every person who sees your post is going to be at a different level on the buyer awareness spectrum. Number 1 would be problem unaware. They don't even really know that they have a problem in the first place, and your content is going to show them that they have a problem. Number 2 would be problem aware. They know they have a problem, but they don't know the solution. Number 3 would be solution aware. They know there's solutions, but they don't know which one is right for them. And the last one would be product aware. They know about your solution, they know what's right for them, but they just haven't bought yet. The biggest mistake you can make is only creating content for people at 1 or 2 stages of the buyer awareness spectrum. Rather, you should create content that moves people along this spectrum from one level to the next, or if they're already at the end, it converts them in the first place. And working all of these into your weekly content schedule is how you get clients from your content. But here's where it gets interesting. There are 6 different tweet formats that we're going to talk about in this video that will help you do exactly that. And again, these formats aren't random. They are based off of hundreds of thousands of pieces of content that we've created across clients in our agency. Me personally, I even have over 30,000 tweets on my personal account, and I'm even going to show you some formats that have directly led to clients for our agency. Each format targets a buyer at a different level of awareness and moves them along what's called the value ladder, from cold to warm to hot to eventually becoming a buying lead. So the first format is called the case study. And now this is probably the most powerful format you can use, because this is essentially really backing up everything else you're saying in your content. It's proving that you're getting results for your clients, you're getting results for your customers, etc. And I'll pop an example up on the screen, but I do case study threads all the time. And on the screen, you'll see is one of my first ever case study threads. It was how we generated 78,000 cash collected in 30 days for our client. And it was one of my first ever clients when I was really just a one-man band. And I'll even show you the conversation of somebody specifically DMing me saying that they saw the case study and they wanted to be the next one. And this really creates what's called a content flywheel. And it's you're just posting case studies to get more clients that will help you make more case studies to then make more content, and so on and so forth. And now another powerful practical tip you can do with these case study threads is you can actually pin them up to your profile so that anytime someone clicks to your profile from any piece of content, they're going to see that case study and have a higher chance of converting to a booked call or a buyer. And case studies are for leads that are already solution or product aware. They're looking for a solution and you're showing them that you have one, or they're already product aware and you're just pushing them over the line to become a buyer. Now, the next format we have is the lead magnet. This is where you are essentially going to give away a ton of free value upfront in exchange for either a reply, a like, a retweet, or a comment. Now, I use this to really grow my following from 1 to 10,000 followers a few years ago, and I'll pop a couple of examples on the screen. But essentially, the most important part about a lead magnet is that you're giving a full solution to somebody to one of their problems. Now, it doesn't have to be the solution that your product solves, but it is still a solution to a problem that they have, which leads me to the next stage on the spectrum. These are for leads that are already problem aware. They know they have a problem, but they don't really have a solution. And what you're doing for free is giving them a solution to their problem. This positions you as a very big authority in your niche, because for free, you've given someone a solution to their problem. And now this puts you well above your competition that has not given any solutions in their content. A bonus of this is that you can get a ton of new followers by requiring that people follow you in order for you to give them that lead magnet. And you can even capture email addresses. It's really a win-win. And another great example of this is that I just wrote a 44-page playbook that teaches you A to Z how to grow, monetize, and scale your personal brand on X. I have that link down in the description. If you enter your email, I will send that over to you immediately. Now, lead magnets are great for warm traffic, but what about catching the attention of people that have never even heard of you? One of those formats is the cool idea. This is essentially where you're sharing any cool idea you have in your industry, and it's really a top of funnel piece of content that is going to get people in the door. It's going to get people interested in what you have to say and interested in what you do. I popped up an example here. It's a cool idea that I had. A tweet that I made was that we should try to verify the clients that we take on, make sure they're not scammers, check out their reviews, etc. And the lead that came into me said that he didn't think that anyone was doing anything like that. He didn't even realize that it was really a problem until he saw our tweet, and it actually pushed him over the line to eventually become a client. And the great part about this format is it's really infinite. You can really share infinite amount of cool ideas that you have, and it's a format that really crushes on X specifically because it's a platform where sharing cool ideas is really the meta. Now, another example of a content format that you can use to get problem unaware people in the door and just to get overall more viewers to your content is the recently format. The recently format is essentially sharing any recent idea or recent personal story or personal narrative that has recently happened in your life and sharing that as a tweet. People are more likely to stop scrolling on their Twitter feed when they see that something is recent, they see that something just happened. It almost has that breaking news effect. And now I'll pop a bunch of examples up on the screen of very big creators using this exact format in so many different ways. And you'll see that the format that I've done with this is actually pairing it with a testimonial and a case study saying that I started posting on LinkedIn recently and it quickly became his most profitable channel. And I'll even pop up the DM conversation that a 9-figure executive sent me a DM immediately after this tweet saying like, hey, can you do our LinkedIn? So it just goes to show you that when you use the recently trick, it gets you more engagement in the moment and has a higher likelihood of bringing people in as clients. This lead was problem unaware of LinkedIn in the first place. He didn't even know that LinkedIn could be profitable. And again, he became a long-term client. So a pro tip for sharing stories that have happened to you recently, there's 2 ways you can really do it. Number 1, you can do it the off the cuff method, which is essentially whenever something happens to you or it's top of mind, you could just pull out your phone and start tweeting. And the other example that I like to do is I like to rip a voice to text to my notes app, save the story, and then when I sit down to write my content for the week, I pull up my notes app and I can see all of the ideas I had throughout the week for stuff that happened to me recently. And it's important to realize that your leads are people, and all these different people are going to have different ways that they connect to your content. So again, stories are a great way for people to connect with you, but another way to connect with you brings me to my next format, which is the meme. Because sometimes you just have to make people laugh, and it's bonus points if you have an inside joke that only your customers and your target market would understand. The psychology of a meme is that it lowers people's guard. They don't feel like you're selling anything to them. They don't feel like you're asking them to follow you. They don't feel like they even care if they have to engage with a piece of content. And that's why people love memes. And on top of that, everyone just likes to laugh. So the example I'm popping up on the screen is one of my quote tweeters, the apartment of your growth operator running ads at 0.25x ROAS. Tons of my ideal clients get burned by these growth operators that are just losing them a bunch of money. And the joke of it is that really only my customers will understand this. So it got tons and tons of like 950 likes, 85,000 views. And I got a bunch of high profile people laughing in the comments, tagging their friends, and it just lowered their guard down, got me a bunch of high quality followers and allowed me to warm those people up with future content. And it sounds crazy, but I do have a pro tip when it comes to memes. I feel like everyone has that group chat with their friends that they send funny memes to. If you scroll through that group chat and you start reading up on those memes and studying how they're done and when they're posted, you can kind of get a feel for how to actually meme yourself, because it really is one of those skills that you have to build just by doing it. You don't have to be a comedian to have a viral meme, but you do have to have that quick wit and you do have to capitalize fast. And memes keep people entertained, but this final format is really what separates the amateurs from the experts. And that's gonna be these X articles. X recently just did a competition where they gave away $1 million to the #1 X article in that time frame. They gave $250,000 and $500,000 to second and third place as well. And it's really just gotten hundreds of thousands of new X articles going onto the feed. and they're really pushing this as a new trending feature. And I'll pop a couple of my examples on the screen of articles that I've done. They always get a little bit of boost in engagement, especially during that competition, but I think it's very important because it's a long form piece of content that you can actually present your solution to people who are solution aware. It shows them A to Z your entire playbook, A to Z your entire process, your method. This is something that you can pin on your profile, similar to a case study. And on X, there's even a separate tab that has all of your articles that people can binge read on your profile. This is a great way for leads to nurture themselves after they find you from some of these other formats. And it's really important that you do all of them to have a well-rounded content approach. And the cool thing about articles, similar to a lead magnet, people get FOMO when they see a big value bomb dropped on their feed. They feel like they have to engage with it. They feel like they have to bookmark it. They feel like they have to save it. So the most important thing with these articles is to put as much free value into them as possible. Now you have the 6 formats, but here's the mistake that everyone makes. They try to deploy all of these at random times and random days, but there's actually a strategic way that you can use these to your advantage. Think of your content as a funnel, not as individual posts. At the top of the funnel, you have your cool ideas, your memes, your recent stories. You're trying to get as many people into your funnel as possible. At the middle of the funnel, you're focused on warming up the people who came through the top. You have your case studies, you have your articles, you have your lead magnets. This is where you're building that trust, you're building that authority, you're making people more problem and solution aware. And then at the bottom of the funnel, you have your call to actions. This is asking people to follow you, asking people to DM you, asking people to click the links to your email lists, to your workshops, to your webinars, to book a call. And this is what makes it work cohesively as a strategy. You have your top, your middle, and your bottom of funnel, and it's all deployed strategically every single week so that you know when people are coming through the door, when people are being warmed up, and when people are being converted. Now, a pro tip for this is not only to treat your content like a funnel, but also your profile. Like I mentioned before, you can pin your top case studies to your profile, and you can even put them in your highlights section for people to binge. On top of that, there's an article section where people can read all of your long form content, where you have all of your free value dumped in one cohesive format. If you treat your content like a funnel and your profile like a funnel, that's where it creates this flywheel where you're constantly getting inbound leads and clients. Now, the most important thing is that you double down on what works. Some of these might go viral for you in your niche, some of them might not work at all, but the most important thing is that you do them all, you see what works, you track the analytics, you keep track of everything on the back end, and then every week when you sit down to write content, you can start doubling down on the different formats that work. I can personally say that articles have worked pretty well for me. Case studies have been extremely profitable for me. So I bias towards a ton of social proof, a ton of case studies. That's why you saw even in my recently format, it was a case study testimonial, because I know that for my brand, that really works. And for your brand, you need to figure out what works for you. Look, I've shown you the 6 formats that have helped us generate millions for ourselves and our clients. But the thing is, there's much more that goes into this, and I'm not going to pretend that you're gonna have it figured out after one YouTube video. But if you want even more guidance, again, I do have a 44-page X playbook completely for free at the link in the description. I worked hard on it. I put a lot of detail and a lot of frameworks that you're able to completely steal for your content and your brand. You can grab that at the link below. Just enter your email and we'll get that sent over ASAP. And if you want to learn what comes after content and learn how to convert people in your DMs, click this video and watch how we generated $2 million in the DMs on Twitter. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this valuable. Cheers.